Hi, everybody. This is Joe O'Donnell with Terrapin Technology Group. Welcome to our webinar. And today we have with us Chris DeFrank from FileScience. And he's going to be sharing with us an interesting topic and discussion to something that is dear to my heart is backups and business continuity. So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and FileScience?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Appreciate you inviting me and the brief intro. So I live here in Connecticut locally. I'm the director of sales for FileScience, and FileScience is a product that's about 7 or 8 years old now. We are headquartered in New York. The product really was a derivative of some clients suggesting that there was a need in the environment, in the legal tech environment for a particular product like File Science. And so my CEO, Nick Martin, decided to build that out. File Science is a cloud backup and recovery tool. It's industry agnostic. It can support many different industry verticals. One of the strong industry verticals that we focus on is legal tech. Um, back the inception of the product was that originally there was a request through NetDocuments, and NetDocuments has an on-prem backup solution called ND Mirror. And there was a client that said, "Hey, it would be great if you had a cloud solution that could back up some NetDocuments information." And so that was kind of how we got started. And along the way, as we've worked with different firms, some of them, like most, have multiple applications and clouds in their environment. And so, we thought it'd be a value add to clients if we looked at other clouds and backed those up as well too in File Science. And so we've been evolving ever since. We continue to improve, including adding different features, and we even have a new 2.0 File Science platform coming out soon. And so, we definitely, think that there's a lot of value there. Clients have given us a lot of feedback in terms of some different things that we can help bring more value to their environment. And one of the unique things about us is we're able to institute those things and listen and kind of incorporate those into the product going forward. So, let me see what else I can share. So again, we're a cloud backup and recovery tool, and not too long from now, I'll certainly show a little demonstration of it. I'll show you how we connect to some of the clouds, and then if any questions arise along the way, I'd be more than happy to address those.
That sounds good. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, Chris and I met. We were at, I think it was a Net Documents Indie Inspire last year.
Hmm.
And one of the things that is always near and dear, like I talked about, is doing backups because there's nothing that will keep you up at night is number one, the security of the systems that you're helping to support. And then number two is everything backed up enough so that if something does happen, you're not scrambling or how far back you are able to bring things back to life.
Hmm.
And one of the misconceptions, now we had talked about this before, you have these services, iManage, NetDocs, Clio, they're very, very popular with a lot of our clients. And, those services do backups of their stuff, but those backups are backups for maintaining their business continuity, not my level of continuity on those things. So let's just because some people even say, well, even Microsoft 365 with those things, that type of cloud environment and those things, those services do backups, but your system is different in how it provides a backup or a granular backup or restore, or even in case of disaster recovery. Let's say that the internet is out at a particular office, or maybe a service like NetDocuments or iManage or Clio, they have some type of service disruption. How would File Science be able to help in a situation like that beyond just having a backup of something, but being able to work with business continuity? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, 100%. That's a great question, great points. In terms of, protecting your data now is so much more critical than it ever was before. Cyber attacks, ransomware. I was talking with a client the other day. They said that, there's a feature in a particular cloud, I won't say who, that enables people that aren't admins to go in there and just delete information. All right. And so this firm had all these contacts deleted erroneously, and they were literally looking just to back up all of those just to protect that. So good examples of different things that could present themselves where FileScience would help to protect against that. Um, many applications in cloud, like you said, they do offer a first layer of protection. We like to call it replication, where they're replicating some of the data within their environment that the clients have to another data center for all intents and purposes. And they're able to recover some of your data if you deleted an email, as an example, or deleted a file. You can recover it up to 30 days. But past the 30 days, many times you're not able to recover that information, for an example. So that's why file science would add so much more added value to someone utilizing that versus relying upon the manufacturer to provide them their backup. Another good reason, right, would be that what if that particular manufacturer goes down completely? And they're the ones that you're relying upon to back up your information, and now that they're down as well too. So sometimes when we have these discussions with others, we tend to ask them, like, what is the impact to your business if you're down for an entire day or 2 days or 3 days? And all these clouds go down inevitably. They're constantly being attacked. They do a great job of protecting themselves, but they're not 100% bulletproof. And so when they go down, what's the impact to your business? And if it's significant, and that's when people start to see some of the value in file science.
Right. Yeah, the things I look at is beyond just having to recover an entire database of a document management system or a time and billing system. Many a times it's more of I need to go and recover something very specific, a document, a particular client or contact or invoice or something of that nature. Or like you had mentioned, many of these services have 99.9798 percent uptime,
Hmm.
which that is really, really good. But at the same time, that small little percentage, when it does happen, is very disruptive.
Hmm.
And we don't necessarily realize exactly how long that small little percentage is in a length of time during the course of a
Right.
year. And so when there are service disruptions, it can be a very anxious moment, especially when we're so used to having instant access to these things wherever we work when we want them. When they're not there, it's disconcerting to say the least, and with our
Hmm.
workflow and everything. So, what you mentioned also, a lot of these services, NetDocuments, iManage have ways of being able to back things up locally. But I know from a lot of our clients, they've been offloading servers so they don't have to care for them anymore or license them or do maintenance on them, have a data center for them and things like that. That now means that if they want to do these type of backups, those things don't really work for them anymore. And that's where I thought what you provide is nice because then it works with the cloud environment that a lot of our clients have gone to already.
Hmm.
So that's good. Well,
Hmm.
we've talked all about file science and what, the practicality of it and being able to do backups and restore things. Why don't you take us through it and we can kind of look at it and talk about it? You want to do that for us?
Yes, absolutely. And I think all of those points, I couldn't have said it better in terms of not investing in infrastructure, not investing in hardware, right? And just having this
Yeah.
one click, I connect. I mean, the
Yeah.
cloud, it's been around, and sometimes, folks, there's certain business reasons why they want on-prem servers and infrastructure. And so, but at the end of the day, I think many clients ask themselves, do I want to be in the data center business or do I want to be in my core competency of, practicing law or whatever maybe that particular, core business is. And so,
Right.
like you said, folks tend to be like, hey, the security in the cloud, it's easier for me, it's scalable. I don't have to be an IT guy or girl. And so that's what some of the benefits. So
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
I am going to share my screen.
While you're doing that, I was just thinking about some of the backups that you do for many of these systems, and many times they're the larger systems, and I think of document management. To be able to do the type of backups or mirroring that is necessary to an on-prem or data center location, it usually requires a lot of times it requires SQL, so you need a full SQL license, and then you need to have a server to run that, and then you have to have storage to be able to back up possibly the terabytes of data that you have up in these systems.
Hmm.
So, you know, that
It
that
can be
that
fairly comprehensive.
yeah, it is not for the light of heart. That's to say
Yeah.
the least. On that. All right, well, show us what you got here. So we have the sign-in page here for File Science.
Yes, sir. So a couple things on the sign-in page. We do offer the single sign-on feature. You can see with Google and Microsoft. We do multi-factor authentication. So a couple good pieces in terms of security and ease of getting in. And then, if there was a client that said, "Hey, I want to sign up right now," you just go to this page. You hit create account, populate some different credentials, basic credentials, and then you can create your account and sign in. So really simple. We try to make it simple. When we have signed folks up, they're like, "It's even simpler than I thought it was." So that's always a good thing.
I know we
So
had talked about this before, that typically this would be reserved for your kind of IT folks or administrators that would be managing this and using this. This would not necessarily be for users to log into and get files and work with things. Essentially, this would be as if you had a backup for a server, and this would be your console to go into those backups so you could get into them, which is usually reserved for those that work in IT or are doing that type of management, correct?
Yeah, we have it set up so that there's like an admin access role, and then there's members. And
Got it.
I mean, it depends on the business, right? They're all a little bit different in terms of who they want in there, but you certainly want to take that with a grain of salt in terms of your overall security plan. Who do you want to have access to this? You can have
Right.
other members access, but you can also just want to be cognizant of it.
Sure.
Um, so, wait a minute. Sorry about that. It's
I know
probably
that
some of
one
the.
of some of the clouds that we had talked about before, I mean, obviously we met while we were at a Net Documents conference last year, but I know we've talked specifically about backing up iManage. We've talked about backing up Clio, and there's backing up Microsoft products. I know on your website I looked and there was a whole bunch of other things, other cloud resources that you back up as well.
Mhm.
How do you
Yeah.
How do you normally build relationships with vendors? That, I mean, you have some now, but if there were other cloud services that someone was interested in integrating with File Science, what might be necessary to be able to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So every partnership is different, just like every relationship and human being. And we have varying levels where we have preferred partnerships and great partnerships with Clio and Net Documents, and then other partnerships that are maybe a little bit newer. We have some partnerships that just want us as an integrator and put us in their marketplace. And so it kind of depends on the cloud. Again, I think one of our unique differentiators is that we can put all these different clouds and back them up into one place, all being FileScience. And so, usually what we'll do is we'll build a custom, integration into the environment, right? And then we'll go to the manufacturer, the software provider, and be like, talk to them and explain to them we want to be an integrator. And we'll go through certain protocols and security checks with them, and certainly address terms, conditions, and different types of things like that. And then ultimately, we get approved and we're able to put them into our environment and integrate with them. So that
Nice.
that hopefully gives you a little bit of a little bit of a flavor in terms of how we do it.
It does. Yeah, no, that's very nice. Sorry, go ahead, and I was interrupted you from going and getting logged in there.
You're good. Any questions? Good questions. So you can see my screen. Essentially, if you're a new organization, you just populate a couple things. If you see on the left-hand side, there's three main steps. So you populate this with your organization name, and then you have to fill out a few additional things, basic stuff, address. I'm able to skip this for now. Okay, and so here's an environment that doesn't have any clouds or tenants connected. Um, so naturally, you come in here, you have on your left-hand side your window pane overview. Down on the left, you can log out, a couple basic things. Upper right hand is where your settings are. I'll show you that real quick. So within settings, you can again populate some information if you need to, if you missed it, what have you. Payment method, if there's anything else, coupons, no active subscriptions. If you want, here's where you can invite someone. You basically generate an invite code, and they copy the code, copy the link, and send it to them an email or what have you. And then there's a couple of different things here, dark theme to light theme, whether it's night or day. And so, yeah, that's your settings, just to show you that real quickly. So we'll exit out of there. And, naturally, there's no clouds or tenants backed up here. So you want to add one. So on the left-hand side, you can see add a tenant. And so again, this is a demo environment. We only have so many that we're offering within this, but these are the main ones. And so we'll pick net documents as an example. And so you'll click through here, you'll click connect. And so that custom API just connected. And what you would do is, in terms of the next step, is to hit backup now. And then you would get a scrolling progress bar of the backup initiating. And so some backups with large amounts of data could take a couple months if there's a lot of data, all the way to a couple weeks, all the way to even a couple of days. It just depends, right? So, but that's literally your three-step process. And so
And
now
just
you would go ahead.
for the sense of the demo, when you're clicking through to connect the NetDocs, this is just a demo environment, so it's just saying it's connected. Typically,
Mm-hmm.
there's a authorization or an allow process on the NetDoc side that you have to follow to be able to go through and do that. I only bring that up because I know
Correct.
some those that are connected are IT admins, and likely security is on the top of their mind. So I wanted to bring that up. And while I'm on that topic, what uh, what security do you have in place for? And see your access controls and things like that. But what other security measures do you institute to protect the data that's on the file science side that you're pulling in from these other resources?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I know that's important nowadays. So we have SOC 2, right? That's one important one to mention in terms of the cloud security. We have a fully vetted SOC 2 credentials. We have 256 encryption. We have the PCI and the HIPAA and the ISO 27001 accreditations. We also have the authorization of the manufacturer, right? Like I was saying earlier, how we go through the manufacturer and we do security checks with them, and so we have that. We're approved by them. We're also FileScience is a derivative of a parent company called CyberGuardian Consulting Services, and they're a cybersecurity company. So our DNA is in cybersecurity and protecting data. And so, yeah, a lot of those things, including some other more technical things that some of my engineers would allude to. But overall, we take pride in the security of it, and I would suggest that nothing is 100% bulletproof, like we were talking earlier. But it's also fully immutable. So if someone gets into the NetDocs environment, they can't come into this environment as well too. And so, pretty well protected, pretty high level security overall.
Very nice. So, as this is, with your dashboard here, as you add these different tenants, and this is another nice thing is that I know for some backups in the past, if I had a NetDocs backup, I have to go to one place, and if I had a 365 backup, I go to another different type of place to see those.
Right.
This is nice because you're adding those different tenants into this one service or dashboard, so you can see what's going on, and you can manage uh, you can restore things from here from one dashboard.
Correct.
Now, thinking about restoring files, because obviously you see the dashboard here, if I needed to restore or recover something, how do you go about doing that?
Sure. Great question. Let me show you this. I have a little cheat code here. Let me give you a full-blown environment of what it looks like, right? So on the left-hand side, you could see like all these different clouds attached. And
Yeah.
you know what? I don't even see Clio in there, but let's get them in there because I know that they're relevant and important. So let's connect them as well. Get Clio in. We got all the main players, and so you can see now that there's a lot more data. It's all populated. You can manage your tenants through different ways. You can come up here on the right and manage a tenant, and it'll pull up all your tenants. You can see the healthy indicator on them, which means that there's nothing that you need to do. They're all in good shape. You can see the NetDocs Finance one here is pending, meaning that there's an action that needs to be taken to get it to green. It probably needs to be backed up. Um, and so up here, you can see that there's notifications, right? And again, those notifications, like we talked, right, NetDocs Finance needs to be backed up. So, um, I wanted to show you this because this is a full environment where you could see there's notifications going off. You could see you have export activity on the bottom right. You can see the recent backup activity as well too, right? And if I jumped into a tenant, like we were talking about Microsoft, so everybody has Microsoft, and for this hypothetical scenario, this person, this Acme Corporation, has Microsoft backed up. So if we pull up the data within there, at the top here, you have some high level information regarding what services are backed up with Microsoft, being OneDrive, Outlook, SharePoint, and Teams. And then if I expand upon that, I get some more details in terms of that. So I can get the history, the storage overview, and get the backup logs down below, some more detail around those. I can see if there was any export jobs associated and really get a better overview of what's going on in terms of this backup. And Joe, like you're saying before, how do I get to this information if I need to recover it? So basically, if you go down below here, and you were looking for, let's say, Outlook, maybe let's call it email. You deleted an email, someone deleted an email. Common challenge, right? You click into the Outlook service. Let's say it was under Steve Martin as the user. And again, all this would be your environment or a firm's environment, what have you. It's just made up information that we just used to show an example. So what you would do is dig into the folder to the file that you're looking for. Here's the artifact detail on a particular file, right? So we can capture a lot of different metadata. We don't capture everything here in the actual demo, but you can see that this file has been backed up 5 times. It's got 5 versions. And so essentially, we've captured the delta on it 5 different times. And most of this case scenario, most folks would take the more recent one, although we keep the backups and you can take any version that you need if you need to go back into a certain day or particular time. Um, you would basically export that and link copied, and essentially you export it to a CSV file. And it's not going to do it, but it'll tell you what's being exported. It'll go to a CSV file, and then you can basically open it up with almost anything like Google, Word, Excel, anything else that you need to. So that's what our current process is, which is, and in terms of backup, we do one backup every evening. So if there was a scenario where it was, I don't know, Monday morning at 10 a.m. and, Net Documents goes down and you need information because you have meetings or you need data because there's something going on that's critical, you can go back to Sunday evening and essentially retrieve all your information. And And so it gives you some really good security in the sense that you can go back to the different versions. Um, and that's really how you would retrieve it. Now we are working on a couple things. We're working on some different search criteria in our next version that we'll be releasing, where you can basically do different things, keyword searches and just different searches that enables you to get to files quicker. Um, and some other things too. We're thinking of incorporating this egress option into the whole process of retrieving the file back and then having it, back into net documents as an example. It's something that we can do and we work with other firms on, but we just don't do it out of the box because there's some additional work and information that we would need.
Right. Yeah. So
So
I'm
that's
thinking
that.
like when some of these services may have disruptions. You can
Right,
go and pick out particular files that you want to download, then you can give those to your client so they could work on them locally. And then obviously
right.
once those services are back up and running, most of the DMSs like iManage and NetDocs, you could then upload those local files into those services as new versions or something like that very, very easily. But the big part is just being able to have a way to get to the files in the case where there is some type of disruption and you need to get to your files because that's the bread and butter of what we're all working on. And like I said, even though it may be a 99% uptime, it's that less than 1% time. It is disruptive, even though it is less than 1%. It we feel it because of the how we operate and how we work, and even if we ourselves are okay with it, we usually have clients that we all support and work with that don't understand that. So just
Right,
having a way
right.
to be able to work around that, obviously it's not something you want to work with long term that way, but these are things or services that we have to allow us to have a workaround until our normal, activity or normal method is back up and running. I kind of think of it
Mm-hmm.
like your backup internet line that you may have for your office. For
Mm-hmm.
most of us, it's not going to be the same speed and quality as our main line, but it'll get the job done just a
Yeah.
little bit slower. But it
Yes.
works. We have a backup like that.
Right. Or like I use the analogy a lot of like a home generator where,
Right,
we go through those storms and everyone's like, oh my gosh, I need a home generator. So, but then
right,
you come to the point where you're like, okay, do I need a gigantic one that turns on and runs everything? Do I need a little one? What works for me? And so it's a lot like that, right? Where you're like, hopefully you never using this thing for too long, but it's there, and when an OEM or a manufacturer does go down, you'll be so happy that you have this and you can continue on with your business. And or if you get a cyber attack and potentially you don't have to pay ransom because you have the data somewhere else, or if people deleted 5,000 of your most critical contacts and you can recover them.
right.
There's a lot of compelling, and I didn't even fail to mention, which I should have, is that your insurance premiums will be lower if you actually have a backup solution versus if you don't.
Right. Well said. Well said.
Mm.
Well, we do have a little a Q&A here. Someone asked here, if we have 365 backups with another vendor, is there a way to pull the retention over from the current vendor? That's a good question. Do you know if that's possible to bring those over?
So if they have a backup 365 with another vendor, and they want to move it to us, then we can move it over to us. We don't have built-in retention policies in FileScience, although we're looking at integrating some of that into the future. So we would basically what we suggest in terms of retention and how long you hold stuff is use your retention policy, and we'll keep things as long as you need to.
Yeah.
And then if you did have Microsoft 365 somewhere else, and you were like, hey, I want to consolidate, put it all in FileScience, that would be no problem at all. We would just basically just migrate it, back it up into our environment, and then you can
Yeah.
cancel your
Now, the,
subscription.
the backups that were on the old system, you wouldn't be able to take those backups and bring them into your system like the old backups from another backup service, right?
Potentially, but I don't want to make any empty promises. I'd have to check
Got
with
it.
my engineers. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, there's ways to do a lot of things as
There's
long as
so you're saying there's a chance. There's a maybe.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, good. Well, these are things because a lot of us have, many of our clients have backups already, and maybe asking, well, if we already have that, then why would we go to something else? So a lot of that just kind of comes down to consolidating, especially if you're going to be backing up multiple cloud points. For
Hmm.
example, if you've got 365 and you've got NetDocs, this will allow you to bring both of those under one umbrella and to be able to
Hmm.
manage.
Right. Or they
Good.
could potentially, hey, I don't like my vendor anymore. I want to try someone different. I want a cloud easy on, easy off solution. I want to move to the cloud. There's a myriad of things, and we're not here to break relationships, but like, people evolve, businesses evolve, solutions change, and one thing that we hear a lot is like, people tend to, we all have so many different clouds and applications spread out everywhere, even on our
Right.
phones. And we're trying to back up all that data and it just compounds and compounds. And now all of our phones have 500 gigabytes of hard drive on them, right? And, there's such critical data in there. And so, there's just a need out there, and when it's a right fit, because folks want to consolidate all these different application clouds and have this one place that's cost effective, and easy to use. So that's a lot of times what we hear from folks, like just impressed with the easy sign up. They can cancel just as easy as they sign up. We hope you don't. But like, and the flexibility of having that cloud environment with the security embedded.
Yeah. Which was another good point we had talked about too, because you and I both have been in situations where services will kind of hold your data hostage in certain scenarios, which is not cool. So that was one of the things we talked about is having an easy
Hmm.
way in, but also an easy way out if things change, which is really
Right.
it's important. It
Yeah,
really
I think
is.
it builds trust and credibility, with a, like you said, you don't feel like you're held hostage. There's some
Right.
organizations out there that, have a different kind of business model, right?
Well, Chris, thank you very much for taking time out of your schedule to share that with us and give us a quick demo of things. For those of you that are attending, if you'd like to have more information to get a more in-depth uh, demo or to get pricing, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach me at info@terrapintechnology.com, and we'll be happy to forward that information over to Chris and get you in line to answer more questions and see if file science will be a good fit for you. Backing up your data and business continuity, it's never a bad thing. It's peace of mind. And we know that there's a cost, that aligns with many of these things, but it outweighs having to have your own data center and manage and support that. So having something that works with the environment you have is going to help you and the firm altogether. Chris, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking time.
Thanks, Joe. Always a pleasure.
I'm here.
Take care. Bye, everybody.